The weekend coverage continues as we're heading into the Saturday action here at CCL. The playoffs just keep going and never disappointing. My name is Seymour. With me is Connie as we're jumping in with Texas State Esports versus the Cumberland Phoenix. How you feeling today, Connie?
Oh, fantastic, Seymour. Thanks for the warm introduction. And I feel like we have two teams on display here in the lower round where really everything is on the line. Texas State Esports and the Cumberland Phoenix. I can definitely sense, embers of a great matchup coming to fruition. But also, it's the CCL playoffs. Land's around the corner and it feels like 4 months has just flown by.
It really has. And I am right there with you. Playoffs around the corner, or playoffs finishing, land around the corner, teams getting ready to play at their best, and I'm ready to see some very fantastic Call of Duty today. Let's take a look at the head-to-head between these two and where they match up from the season into now. Texas State Esports, a little bit of a, I'd say, less successful than what we've seen for most of the top 10 in our top 25, but 10-4 still a very reputable record, and they've been turning it around heading into the playoffs, now facing the Cumberland Phoenix, who on the other foot have had a fantastic season so far. Very stands out. They 12-2. They make it all deep into their respective divisions, and now for the playoffs themselves, trying to bounce back after a loss from Mars Hill.
And when you sort of take the two teams and their overall records into a very interesting scope, Texas have got more reps, Colin. They actually have a lot more maps under their belt, and from 12-9 and 10-6 in the S&D, we can definitely sense their series go to 4 to 5 maps more often than Cumberland Phoenix, where although the win record and the ratio is much better, they demolish teams. I've seen these guys play before. They are very formidable on the map, especially in maps 2 and 3. Map 1 has been the question mark for Cumberland Phoenix. They either decimate or get decimated. That seems to be a pattern that I've noticed so far from watching them for the last 4 months. But I must say, with Texas State having more reps, you obviously would go along the dialogue of they're probably going to have an easier time in the latter stages. But Cumberland Phoenix and their game plan and their set play, what they've done so far, we centered around getting off to a very hot start.
Well, Cumberland's in my burn book a little bit, Connie, because last night they took Carleton Ravens to map 5. They knocked them out of the playoffs, and I don't like to see Canadian teams lose. So for Cumberland, I got my eye on you right now. Shout out to Star & Co. in Ottawa. What a season from them. But yeah, let's take a look at the series in the best of 5 format for the maps and modes that we're going to be seeing. Hacienda, Protocol, Vault, Red Card, Hacienda. We can take a look at the bans too. Neither team wanting to go to Rewind, or at least Texas State not wanting to go to that Rewind Search and Destroy, which I'm a little bit upset about, honestly. I was hoping to get a little Rewind action.
I feel like the biggest thing for me in this best of 5 is a Red Card Hardpoint right there in map 4. I haven't seen that being played for at least my entire time on College COD. It always got vetoed out. It was the instant ban for a large portion of the teams involved in the tournament. But in this best of 5, I understand exactly why Vault Hardpoint, of course, is going to go. It seems like a very 50-50 map now that the pool has been expanded, the team's positions are solidified, the reps, of course, you're going to try and experiment. And in terms of what do Texas State want to do, get it out of there, try something new. I respect the idea, but Hacienda to open, that's just saying one thing. They want to play really fast, and they're going to put a lot of pressure on a high-tempo game plan. But then floating over to a Protocol S&D, completely contrasting the style. Slow, tactical, the ARs have a bit more input. Yeah, it really is. Sizing up to B in turn, quite an up-and-down series, Colin. I can't frame it any better.
Yeah, Hacienda is a map that Cumberland have been loving throughout their season. We got to see it weeks ago versus Newberry on stream. We've seen it multitudes of times for this team, and it's been good. It's been bad. It's been a little bit of a toss-up for the squad. I think for Texas State, this is exactly the map that you kind of want to go to. Just in general speaking, Hacienda is one of those maps where you don't really have too many unknowns. It's very standard, straightforward. You kind of know how to read your team. You know how to walk into this one with a strategy. You've been playing it for a long time, so it makes sense to go to this Hacienda for map 1. I think for Texas State Esports, it's important going into these respawns and feeling comfortable. I definitely favor Cumberland Phoenix heading into the Search and Destroy. I think they've been looking very, very solid in that map, that mode. But for Hacienda, going into the control, and then later on, I think for Texas State, it is important to deny these respawns from Cumberland if you want any chances in this lower bracket.
Both teams on their hard points, Band, Skyline, and Vault, setting a tempo and a taste of flavor for what to expect. No fast maps, no spooky spawns, just pure strict Call of Duty as we liked it, as it was intended. But Hacienda still floats somewhere in the middle. It's an instant classic, a Black Ops 4 legendary map, but in the new 44 meta, it has become sensational, especially for competitive play. But in terms of what to expect, it's a lower round 3, somebody's going to be going home, and Texas and Cumberland are making sure that neither or is going to be the result of today's proceedings.
If the team wants to go home, both teams want their revenge to continue. Matches yesterday looking good for Texas State Esports, 3-0 SIUE. So feeling good heading into this match versus Cumberland. This team is sharp throughout the lower bracket. I think that just in general for Texas State Esports, what a turnaround for a season this would be to take down Cumberland Phoenix. I mean, obviously you look at it ahead of us, Connie, and you see that Texas State Esports sitting 11th heading into the playoffs, Cumberland Phoenix sitting 10th. So like side by side, this is one of those moments that if Texas State take down Cumberland tonight, that would shake up the expectations of what people would have expected throughout this playoffs. Not only that, I mean, you look at who else are going to be playing into the next couple of rounds. I mean, you still have Northwood Fisher matching up against each other. CSUF, who took down Texas State, gonna have to play up against Mars Hill, so that's gonna be a tough match for them. Oklahoma Christian and Fisher College, another matchup that is going to send one of the best teams that we have in College God down to the lower bracket. St. Clair, Newberry, another two that have had the number of these schools all year long. So going forward from this one, I mean, no matter which way you spin it, after this moment, I mean, you're putting your big boy pants on. Every match forward is probably going to be the toughest match all year.
Absolutely, Colin, 100% correct, and you're spot on the money. When it comes to teams throughout the last 4 months, throughout all 4 phases of College COD so far, preparation has been leading up to this. The wins and the losses have all been lessons learned for every single team, and Texas State and Cumberland Phoenix tend to be 2 of the greatest textbook examples that you will find. Not just, again, even in numbers, pretty much 1 space off from each other in seeding, and, you know, if you want an even matchup or a 5-mapper, you put these 2 together, right? But in the playoff format, upsets happen. It happens all over the world in every single title you can think of, but in the College COD playoffs, there's a different aura floating around the air today. So that's really where I think Texas and Cumberland can either utilize it to the best of their ability and unlock some incredible skill that hasn't been tapped into yet so far, or they could crumble. You know, it's either or of the seesaw.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, for Cumberland Phoenix, I think that this is definitely a team that people expected a little bit more from. It was, I'd say, not so par for the course seeing them lose to Newberry. I mean, that Newberry team is good as well, but I really had hopes that this team would be that number 2 SWAT coming out of the Southeast Appalachian. But for them, I mean, we saw that matchup versus Newberry. They lose that chance to play up against Mars Hill. And even it's kind of turned around. I feel like for Cumberland, I feel sorry for them a little bit, Connie, because look at what they got in the playoffs now for the CCL. They got to play Mars Hill again. And it's just like, I'm sure these Cumberland players are like, how many times are we going to play Mars Hill this season before we don't have to play them ever again? But it's like that monster in the closet that they just keep like facing.
Oh, I know. I mean, that's a great analogy to use. And Mars Hill, in this instance, have always been number 1 and never slipped down to 2nd place at all. And again, you can talk about their core in itself and the LATAM fusion with the US talent, which has created such a formidable team and easily one of the top 5 teams in America. But I feel like you have to throw out the window at this point. We're in a completely different time and stage, same as every other stage. I always say, you reset, you go again, and we see where the results are and what needs to be improved. I think Cumberland Phoenix trajectory has been nothing but positive since the start of the season and the kickoff tournament. So I just felt like the Hacienda hardpoint, they've been here before, they're going to do it again. Same for Texas State. It just feels routine at this point for these teams. The reps don't lie, the practice doesn't lie. All that matters now is the final words from the coach, the in-game leader, the set plays off the mark, and just where we're going to see capitalizations from either team.
A whole lot more raps coming out from Cumberland Phoenix on this Hacienda hardpoint than Texas State Esports. 3-1 on this map. Texas State 1-0 to my knowledge. So coming out to this one, what a map it would be for Texas State Esports to steal this one away, as the Bobcats are going to come out with a few kills. Cal answering back. No time just yet. Also, no time like the present for Texas State to look to get back in there. Unfortunate team kill onto Ferg. And again, that's going to stunt this attack from Texas State to try to get to the hill.
And it feels very slow so far for both teams. I mean, Cumberland now are just starting to register time on P1. It was a jostling for position for the western side of the map, and there's garage spawns. But, you know, when we saw Cumberland's break off on the good side, they sent 3 towards balcony, and Texas, they had the wrap completely converted. But I feel like this was kind of wasted from both teams as P1. We see P2 now being fought for on the other side, and this maybe is where the action picks up, because Cumberland Phoenix had control and threw it away.
Well, fights into the new hill. It's Texas State actually walking away with that initial time. You still have a player in the back, but a spawn for Draken. That's going to confirm things have flipped out on the side of the Bobcats. Now from the front, DOA. See if he can lead his team back into the salvation. Unfortunately, Draken, Honor, they have different plans. They're holding on. Cumberland doing exactly what they need to start buffing out this lead.
They already have a blocker in place. That's going to be Cal hiding behind the statue. And this 35-point gap Cumberland Phoenix have formed, expected to go up. This could be a full 60 money hill. Ferg is the first point of contact for Texas State on their break attempt. And it's just an overload from Cumberland Phoenix. They are swarming the garage. And the one lurker in Astonish is not going to meet the pressure head on with the right manpower. Phoenix, they found a way to just about get the scrap time. But Texas State are 2 steps ahead. They're already rotating now to mid-map and towards the next hill.
6 in a row for Honor, so on way to the Hellstorm. What a tool that would be for Cumberland, especially if you don't even need it on this first rotation. Maybe the second, maybe the third. Could be the dagger. DOA in behind. Can you hold on to this rotation for the team? Well, a couple kills coming through from the Bobcats, and so far, it is so good. The only issue is, you got a pinch from Draken, and you lose the spawns in the back, so you need Astonish to win these fights up to the plat. Big win there versus Cal. That's going to force this streak out of Honor, so Hellstorm down, takes the pressure off the hill, and allows you back into this fight. Cal off that respawn, he's going to find Astonish jumping over the balcony, calling for the rest of the team to follow him up. Bait and switch into the hill. Splody in behind finds Still. And it is giving Texas State a good battle to hold on to this, which they will.
Texas State again going for scrap time, and that's a nice priority from the last hill to now. But Cumberland Phoenix's lead, it's not really escalating out of arm's reach yet, Seymour. Still a nice 20-point gap. But when you look over towards the new hill, Cumberland Phoenix have already got 3 players around this point. But with Splody's position as well as Doa's, it's about Cumberland Phoenix now over-aggressing and making a mistake. That's what Texas are banking on right now on this new hill. But with this bunker-like setup from Cumberland, it can be a huge problem and potentially another full 60.
Watching the flank, 7 Astonish. Holding a pinch angle, forcing Cumberland off of this hill, and he finds all 3, so doing it himself at locking down this P4 hill for Texas State. The Bobcats, they need this time. So let's see if they can hold on. Cumberland now for the break in through the key door. It is Ferg up against Honor. He puts together a double kill. Steamrolls Texas away from this hill. And it's an instant break to keep Cumberland in the lead.
Oh, this final contest as well. 8 players smashing their way onto the hill across both teams. Ferg, though, is cleaning up the majority of them. And this is only 5 seconds scrap time. Despite the heroics, both teams committed to scrap time. The spawns for Cumberland Phoenix are just a little bit better. However, Texas State do have control of balcony and upper flat, so they can now get the kills on the external. Yeah, this is pretty much now going to be 100 points cross for Cumberland. Well, 6 more seconds uncontested, and Texas State going to the south side of the map with spawns. So I think they're a little bit more petrified than they were in the first set here. A definite change in behavior and confidence.
You got Splody on the flank. He's going to hit through a secret. Removes the initial pressure off of this hill. Kills coming through from the Bobcats. I'd like to see somebody jump into the time, see if we can get anything off of this P1 before we flip out. But Cumberland going to recognize that. The overextension to see if you can flip these spawns around. They're going to actually beat them to the lobby. And Lewis is there to trade out onto Splody. So a successful flip in the P2 spawns for Cumberland Phoenix, as this is where they're going to look to keep their lead.
And look at this beautiful wave from Texas. 4 players, 3 through to 1 entry. Unfortunately, Doe losing his life outside of Garage. I think Cumberland now from this position, again, can create this little anchor from Honor's position. The cutoff to mid will be there. You've got 2 players taking around lobby. It's a beautiful setup, Colin. The blocker as well for Draken means that they can soak up 10 more seconds, not even fire a bullet. Just spam utility here. Texas are stalled, and you can get 30 seconds, no compensation.
Nearly impossible was the break from Texas State last time in this hill. Gonna have to pinch to the side door, and a big win from Splody is gonna lead the charge in for the contest. Draken pistols out. It's Cal last up, and Cal takes him down. Locking it down for Phoenix. Keeping them in this hill. Still 24 seconds. And now for the Bobcats, you gotta make a tough decision. But realistically, you do not want to be stuck in those back P2 spawns.
Absolutely, and what have Texas done? I mean, Ferg has wrapped around from the south side of the map, meaning that Cumberland's 2 players crossing towards New was going to be a spawn. Splodey's won the 1v1 for New, and now that creates a awkward paradox. Cumberland is spawning back on old, and Texas are going to be right by the river house. So it's going to be a foot race to New, all while Splodey soaks up all this time.
Such a major play there from the Bobcats, not only denying the last little bit of time from that P2 hill, but successfully getting the rotations over towards 3. Cumberland Phoenix gonna manage to hit over towards the north side. Will pull those back spawns. 50-second lead, so not able to flip it just yet for Texas, but you want to cut it down as much as you can. DOA up top. Nice combination between Ferg to remove that topside pressure. 3 clean out of the Bobcats to continue to soak up this hill time. And this is as good as it gets for Texas State. When you thought they were out, I mean, they are just crawling back in.
Wonderful plays from Doa. Very proactive. Now just changed from the static AR in the outer lanes to being a lot more free roam in the middle of the map. You see him just shoot across the other side into Garage to create this pinch where Cumberland Phoenix are going to feel like every time they go through the north lane, it's a trap. And it's just going to create this beautiful set piece where hopefully Texas State can find a way out. But yeah, Splody is the one player that can cause a big problem.
He does just that, cuts off the respawning players, follows up, finds a second. And now Texas State Esports have a chance to flip this lead. Last time around, it was the hit through Kedor that broke it. This time, Cal's going to take the long angle all the way through fire. 3-piece from Cal in the hill. And it's a break off of his solo dolo moment to bring Cumberland back in towards this P4 setup. Nades out from Doa. Finds a team kill onto Ferg as well. Hellstorm in. Draken able to shoot it out of the air, but not before Splody extends over towards Cal. So Draken trying to do his best to hold on for the team, and it looks like he's done it.
Draken's in a very aggressive position here as well. Texas State's funnel can kill him at any moment, but his teammates and the trust he has in Cumberland just to pick up the pieces is fantastic. That's why the 30-point lead is in their hands. You float over towards New, and again, more positioning from Texas, more red arrows dotted on the point. Of course, Astonish is going to gather that time. Cumberland Phoenix, 1 through Garage, 2 through the lobby. It's a very unorthodox break attempt. They're relying a lot on a pinch, and Ferg in this instance to create an awkward timing.
Good communication out of Draken and Cal. Gonna catch Astonish over towards Secret, especially the route here. Cal, the timing on Splody. Cumberland just finding those moments of rhythm where everything goes their way. 36-point lead for the Phoenix. Bobcats gonna look to see if they can put together something now on this P1 hill. But Cal up top again just lines them up. Rotations over to New are in for Phoenix.
Look at this little pause from Texas State. All 4 players again are flying right. Let's shoulder peek this, but positions again mean that Cumberland now have lost 3 players. Last one up is going to be Luis, and that's a complete take. And a flip of the spawns, Texas State have got comfortable Garage positions, trophies in the back pocket as well, just to reinforce any extra barrages you might see from Cumberland Phoenix. But this needs to be a perfect 460, and Cumberland are taking their sweet time, Colin, to get in this hill.
Waiting the game for the Bobcats. His first one's to slide on through. Team kill from Ferg. Is that going to turn things for the Phoenix? If Splody says no. But it is a foot race to get back into it as Draken to get some good shots there onto the heady. He's going to slide through. Ferg trades it. Ferg for 2. Ferg, can he find all 3? Holding it down. No, Cal. Back in for the contest. So Cumberland holding on as best as they can to this 20-point lead, but as Cal goes down, now you're risking the flip out And you don't want to let that happen. You're going to push back in. If you're on Earth 3, go down. And you have Cal around the back. He's going to keep those P2 spawns for Texas State.
Yeah, and Cal's made the play call here as well for Cumberland. Realizes his team is getting absolutely blended in the garage hill. Now it's time for a pause for Cumberland. They have the lead. Texas State have to put constant throttle and pressure. Why not play a dirty off angle and get a two-piece with the sub? That's what Honor's doing, and that's the effectiveness you need. Crossing 220, a perfect hold for Cumberland, and they get the hacienda.
His Bobcats, you know, they are hot and cold. At one point, they look like nobody can break them in a hill. The decks, they just cannot find stability, but in this moment, they put together 4. And that's the break. Honor gonna look for some timing here. See if he can slow it down and allow his teammates to take angles and hit it all at the same time. Ferg off angle. Nobody's going to read it. 3 down again. The Phoenix just getting boxed out right now. Cal nowhere to go. Texas State are in.
And this is perfect. 5 seconds uninterrupted. Cumberland, though, are sprinting to the other side of the map. This is a crucial must-win, and the rotation is going to be even more important. Going to be about an 8-point margin between the two teams. Fingers crossed if the timing's correct. But Cumberland are fully set up for new, and Texas are picking off the outer players.
No Hellstorms this time. What a good read onto Draken. 2v2 for the hill time, and you can see that Bobcats are just collapsing onto this position. Lewis is overwhelmed. Honor looking to be that hero. 6-point difference. He slides through. Again, the Bobcats, they're in, and they're winning their battle. 7 in a row for Ferg.
The extension is just beautiful. They can hold this nicely. The lead will change hands for the first time in this map. And Cumberland have to have one last break attempt, and it needs to be perfect. The players are out of position as well, and they're going in one by one. The isolations are so good for Texas State.
Cal's got to wait his time. I mean, you cannot jump the gun, and he's done it, Ferg. Just unstoppable. 10 in a row. The Bobcats down, but never out. One by one, they funnel on through, and Texas State Esports steal it away. The hacienda that you would have never seen coming. 250 to 230. And when you needed a moment for the Bobcats to stake their claim here in the playoffs, this might have just been it.
What a fantastic map. And it wasn't until the last second when the Bobcats made their impact and said hello to the biggest stage of them all. I feel like Doa in the final moments was that sort of catalyst that really changed the game, Colin. A 10 spree right at the very end, leading, well, joint leading the kill feed in terms of kills to deaths and in terms of overall output. But I must say, for the 90% of the game where Texas State, in my eyes, really looked impressive, it was right at the very end. Cumberland Phoenix, they held the lead comfortably, and it was until the final P3 and the final set of rotations where everything changed, and Cumberland Phoenix just stagnated, at least 15 points accrued over 3 hills. It was that final escalation that really made the impact in Texas State leading.
Momentum across this from Texas State just in general. I mean, the first P2 to P3, like a full 40 seconds. The second P2 to P3, another, like near 60 on that hill. Like completely closes that gap against Cumberland Phoenix. And then just like steadily finding their way back into this game. I think the first leg of the race, it was just astonished, winning so many battles over towards P4. So many mixing moments where you're seeing double kills out of him to cut off those rotations from Cumberland Phoenix. And at the end there, a 10-11 spree from Ferg where he already had 14 assists. I mean, this guy was on top of everything in terms of damage, engagements, just being there for the team in those right key moments. And when Texas State finally put it all together with like the whole team just clicking, I think that's when you truly saw them consistently looking better than Cumberland Phoenix in that map number 1. Although, you can't take away from Cumberland. I mean, they played a great hacienda. They led for pretty much the entirety until that P3, like you said, that last one. But at the end, you fall a little bit short, and you're just wondering where you went wrong. And it's just in those moments where you're just allowing that one player to just isolate so many one-on-ones, nobody trading out. It just seems like you were a little bit lost and a little bit panicked towards that last little bit of the hacienda, which brings us into the protocol search and destroy. A little bit of a different, I'd say, map to go to for both of these teams. Not as experienced for it. They haven't played it as much in the regular season, but that just means that, you know, probably both of them have been working on it heading into the postseason.
Absolutely, and what makes it a bit more interesting too, you look at the bans for the S&D. Rewind is fairly new and back in the pool, so I feel like at this stage in these crucial tournaments, teams tend to pick maps that they have the most reps on, right? It's just, you know, the secret sauce, or maybe the most common recipe in the world to hope to have the best probability of winning the map.
Well,
although Rewind and S&D is actually pretty damn good. And no red card, I feel like at this point, it is also an instant ban. It's kind of a key theme.
yeah, nobody likes that. But I lied straight to your face. Chat, too. Looking at the stats again, I was looking. I had the maps wrong. I don't know why I selected the wrong one, but it's actually like Texas State. They're 4-0 on this map. I mean, like coming off of that win, looking at the record you have on this map mode combo, especially through the regular season. You know, postseason. I don't know the stats for those ones. We just have the regular season stats right here, but. 4-0 coming out of the regular season. Texas State are loving this right now. You got to be feeling good after that.
Absolutely, and I feel like Texas State have to, hopefully, with their 4 wins, review every single one and see where the pros and cons are, because Protocol S&D now at this stage, I mean, they could lose it, and it'd be the worst time to lose that map. No one could hold on to an O forever, no matter how good the record may be, but it depends on how the team reacts to win after win after win. Texas State, what I'm really hoping to see is the review from every single victory, where the weaknesses were, above all else. Like that perfect honest reflection, because Cumberland Phoenix are still quite charged up from this one. They lost a hard point, you know, the worst possible instance, you know, couldn't get onto the final hill. The S&D means they're going to have a bit more energy and a bit more mental talk.
I'd say like one thing that certainly wasn't a weakness for Cumberland in that map one was the slang. They came out strong out of the gates. They were kind of strong-arming the Bobcats for so long. It was like some heroics from Astonish and Ferg in moments that you needed to that really brought them over the hump. But like for the most part, like the Phoenix were going toe to toe with that. And you look into this one, if they can, shake off what just happened in that map one and kind of clean slate this game number 2, you go back into that form, draw a few first bloods, and Protocol is one map where if you get a first blood, you must be winning that map, that round.
First few shots go down from Draken, and already we're seeing retreat from Texas State as Cumberland Phoenix aggress heavily onto the opposing side of the map. They're going for more of a defensive posture, hoping a lurking player will be the first blood drawn, but Texas State right now are holding a position where Cumberland are just swarming them with one pincher. That's, of course, going to be Splody.
Yeah, Splody has a chance to catch some timing here. Unfortunately, though, he has no idea. Draken still inside. Cal looking back. Lamar, see if he can rip a player off of that heady. Plant's going down. Doa's going to be able to check this one. Not going to get there before the bomb goes down. So post plant for Phoenix now. Numbers down. I think everything's going to come down to, can Draken win this fight versus Splody? Splody's just been on the hunt for so long. He slides back and oh no. You're just getting dismantled now. Ferg's going to take the last one and a flawless retake from the Bobcats in round 1.
And that was a break-off from Texas that I was raising question marks to. They were very defensive. They had 2 players right deep in their own spawn, hoping that we'd see an overcommitment from Cumberland, which is kind of had to get crumbled. There wasn't really any trades in the first 30 seconds, lots of tags and lots of throwing a shoulder, hiding behind a wall, but then the isolation suddenly appeared. And then we started to see Cumberland lose a player every 2 seconds. And it's just a beautiful way and a beautiful read on what feels like to me Texas, explaining why they're 4-0 in this map, but in an opening round, they're sticking so hard to set strategy. A lot of commemorations to the coaching team over there.
Well, now for Phoenix, see if they can answer back with a defense of their own. Texas State with trophies now heading over towards this A site. Cal's going to draw that first blood out P2. That's going to give some no man's control. You've lost A, but you can start a setup on different angles, and Splody going down is going to solidify that this is going to be a quick retake into the site. So bombs going down. Ferg's going to hold off the plethora of players just bursting through this door. Astonish not even going to have time to plant this bomb. Swing out. Astonish trapped. Nowhere to go in the site. Cumberland pick you apart.
And I mean, a set 2v1 scenario underneath in bunker, and well played from the Phoenix. They allowed, again, the bait to be drawn. Every single shot was missed from Astonish, and then he was caught in the worst possible situation. Has to check to his left, has to take out the player holding a dirty angle. You know, but I feel like reading further back into it, when a sort of retake into the site, or at least Cumberland Phoenix swarming on the outside of bunker, I kind of knew it was going to be a good take, because we see time and time again, this site is the easiest to retake out of the two, and it's also the one where you, as a defender, have to hold so much guard. But look at this, sprint to the other side of the map, no information from the set stuns, and a first blood is drawn. Astonish rights his wrongs from that 1v2.
Timing here for Honor. He's got the better gun. 3v3. First blood, null and void, and Splodey's going back into his old antics already on the flank. Nobody's going to be up top as it's Louis just trying to recover this bomb. He is alone. He needs some help. Astonish is getting himself away, and they should know this. Bomb is spotted here from Astonish. They got to go down at some point. Just struggling at figuring out where these couple of players are. And man, the Cumberland Phoenix are being so thorough. They want to do everything but go get the bomb.
And this is just what this is what due diligence is in a 2v3. It's unfortunate. Honor has to check the the awful 8-corner entry into ammo. And Texas, they just bunk it up. I mean, what can you do in a 3v2 when all you have to do is let the remaining two players be over-aggressive, isolate themselves, and then you've got two barrels when you bash through a door. Oh, it's punishing. Perfect hide and seek. But, I mean, in terms of the reclears, Cumberland Phoenix did a pretty damn good job with the, man disadvantage, and this map probably being one of the worst for level changes, geography, and corners to check. There's way too much that goes into detail. They're doing well so far, and only 2-1, still right in the opening moments of this game, and no real deeper strategy being shown to the audience. Texas State in their first round gave us a little insight. Free towards the north side of the map with the bomb. Brave from Texas.
Nobody goes down just yet. Splodey's going to get stun checked, so they know that Texas State has some fittings here. What a check from Astonish, and that saves the life of your comrade. Cal's gonna get a trade. They still know that somebody's in and around the lighthouse, and you can see that Cumberland are being so apt on just checking for it, but they don't know Astonish is wrapped all the way back up top, 6-1. Again, the hero of the Bobcats at times. Back on Hacienda. Is looking to be quite an issue here on Protocol as well. Draken 1v3, 20 seconds. At some point, you're just gonna have to send it, and when you do, you look the wrong way. And Texas State buffer out their lead even more.
Simply gorgeous. Splodey again being a recurring figure so far for Texas. Definitely their star player to a degree. But when it comes to the S&D, questions coming in. Oh my god, they're on protocol. How could this possibly be? I must say, when it comes to their adjustments, they're so confident in 1v1s and also being alone on the map. Protocol is very, very difficult to feel confident on if you're on an island. But every single player from Texas has been there and done that. Cumberland just swarming together as a pack, and they are now stuck in ammo with barrels drawn. Draken draws that first blood.
Aset has fallen. Quick plan on the flank. Ferg, can you do something with this? Hoping to time it right, but they don't. Ferg's going to jump the gun, and that's going to give an easy one-on-one for Cal to shut down that play through elevator. All eyes forward as Texas State make themselves known. They walk to the door, and that is all they're going to do as it gets slammed in their face.
I'd say that was a blind counter and a very egregious call from Cumberland Phoenix. But it worked. I don't think we saw the tempo and pressure to be expected from Texas. They were blindsided right at the start of that round, but it was initiated from the first blood. Both teams fighting for control of the B site, and Draken drew the first blood. Instantly, the flood came in, and the round was textbook for Cumberland Phoenix. And now we go to round number 6, and it feels like in terms of the winning rounds that Texas State have converted, has been set on beautiful strategy and high-octane plays. Cumberland Phoenix have to avoid this beautiful set nade from Texas State. They're going to hold fort this time rather than run through the middle of the map. That's what Texas want to do.
Draken.
And Draken's lined up 3 of them. That's an elimination. That's an absolute decimation of the Bobcats.
Guys, this guy shot a hellstorm into the sky. You know he can shoot straight. What are we doing lining up like that?
That's a great callback.
1v4, Astonished. Yeah, no chance, buddy. That's a tie game now. So, thank you, Draken. We got up competitive protocol. And the Phoenix have risen.
Such a mind melter as well for Texas State. Draken has single-handedly won back-to-back rounds with 2 overly aggressive plays that came off. I mean, they're going to throw gambles in round 6 and round 7. With Cumberland Phoenix now, we know where their set minds are. Texas State are a little bit fuming. We can definitely sense that was a round where they coordinated an idea and Draken shut them all down. So what's the response to that? Well, he's on for a missile. And they're going to throw a trophy out to block the set nades. Texas State, though, have got tags early on, and it's both teams pretty much outside the door from each other.
Bomb still lingering on what to do. Whether you call an audible, hit through catwalk, head over towards this B side, or you just full send it into A. Well, it looks like it's going to be a ladder of the options as they're teasing with the idea of sliding into the back. Astonished, not able to turn it into a double kill. Instead, bomb going down at A in a 3v3.
And Texas was starting out at this point. Converge the arrows. Look up, and Doa's got one. 2v3, a post plant. And now Cumberland Phoenix have to defend this against a man disadvantage. And Texas State can flood any one of 3 lanes.
And it's no
but
better.
this man advantage is going to be so key for this big retake.
Better site to be in for 2v3. And this one here, early shots from Lewis. He's going to have to back down. Not able to reach it in time. Honor 1v3. And you're not going to get the same grace that Draken did just last round. They do a good job at actually bait and switching into the back line. Those early shots in Lewis, if he was able to just keep full health, I mean, maybe you give him a chance in that 3v2, but forced off of it, not able to get the regen, and you just look how easy it is to finish that kill.
Yeah, you can see exactly just what the mindset was as well for Texas State. They were pre-firing every single slide, Colin. So the health, as you mentioned, was always going to be the biggest downfall with aggressive structure like that. But maybe we're different, like you said. If it was a different read, plus 30 HP, but it's always the hardest to defend that site in a 2v3 every single time. We saw Cumberland do it to Texas before. And now on this attacking side, Texas going to throw a few set nades of their own and just try and get it on the other side of Cumberland Phoenix.
Early shots out. I think to come from it, but fast hit over towards B with a first blood as well from Astonish. Cal doing his best to see if he can reel and contest this timing towards back Lamar, and he has gotten through, but losing out on your wingman, that makes your job even harder. You need Draken to go big up here, see if you can give Cal some leeway in the regen pool. She will be able to get over towards this bomb side, but nobody is showing anything here from the Bobcats. Everybody tucked into their corners. Closing the gap is going to be Draken alongside Cal. And now the hunt is on for the rest of the team. 17 seconds. You don't have time to get this one done. You're finding the kills, but it's Ferg with everything to put this one away. All you need to do is kill Cal, and that's it. The round going to the Bobcats. Map point here on Protocol.
Oh, Ferg, I mean, talk about being elusive, Colin. You know, I thought for a second through the x-rays that Cumberland were going to look right and it was going to be all wraps, but like we say in the post plants, know your bomb timings, always check it at 8 seconds, 7.5, you pick your preference, but the round is yours. And that's a frustrating one to lose as well for Cumberland because they had the advantage and it lies solely responsible on the person covering bomb. So now a point away from making it a 2-0 lead here in the lower round. Yeah, Cumberland Phoenix got to pull something out the fire.
Well, I mean, they are Phoenixes, so there's one thing you're going to put on the fire. It's these guys. But Phoenixes sound weird. You know, it just sounds like a weird thing to say. But say that there's multiple of them going in. But either way, Honor, first blood. Bomb over towards B. Draken playing so disconnected from this through the middle of the map, seeing if he could catch some timing on anybody exiting this A site. But it's going to be a flank coming out from Splody. Ferg up top in trips. So, gonna have to see if they can take this one step at a time to ice up in the 2v4. Unfortunately, no. Splody goes down and Draken holds his ground.
A very textbook round. Cumberland. A flawless round, as well to mention. They just converted the site comfortably, isolated the key attackers in post plant, And man advantage, a 4v1. Splody, there's not much he could do. I mean, again, he's the island player. He's the one that causes the late pinches and the problems for Cumberland Phoenix. But again, this is a nice sign of life, a morale booster for the Phoenixes. And as they now close the gap on Texas, who still need one round to convert this map, it's all about this break-off. It's all about how aggressive you want to be and what you want to hold on to. As Texas State only send 2 nades over the top, but they hold on to extras because this race down to bunker, the pre-fire from Ferg, tells a story.
Again?
No! We've seen it again! Draken with 3. Why? Why Texas State?
Surely we don't get like the hat trick coming out from this guy. He's done it twice. There's no way we go into a round 11 he does it a third time. You learned your lesson there, Texas State. The A site is closed for business.
And it's going to be around 11 from probably one of the strangest round 10s because it feels like nostalgia, Colin. We've seen it before. Just didn't think it'd happen again, but Draken's done it again. And Texas had pre-fires as well. Designed for this. But the timing to get the shoulder off. Yeah, astonished. What more? He couldn't even... Didn't even die from impact. It's just more and more little things. Oh, Cumberland. Send us to the round 11.
Can't even give the round away, right? Come on. That was the biggest rug pull of a round 10 I've ever encountered. I mean, like, I just was not expecting that. 12-6 from Draken, 5 in a row, twice. He has dropped a 3-piece at that A site. Let's see if Cumberland Phoenix can right their wrongs from the end of that hacienda. He didn't have the ice in map 1. Draken looking to do it again. Just Ferg here. He's got the trophy. He's down, and he's in it. So, first blood out at A. Let's see if they can get this bomb down.
And that first blood's going to be crucial for Texas State, but Ferg hasn't progressed position. He's calling in help from his teammates. Honor's doing a deep flank as well, which takes out Astonish, and now draws an arrow away from Texas's push, so there's going to be an overload for Cumberland on the outside. Wow, Doa.
He's in behind. He's actually going to lose the timing here. They've waited to drop down this elevator. So Doa's able to get over towards his team. If he gets caught out there, it's probably the round, but now Texas State with a full-fledged post plant. And Doa's gonna get all the information. Splody on the side. He's gonna find the player through the big door. It's a firing squad at A, and Texas State do it again. They ice up at the finish line. They cross at first, and they're 2-0 up against Cumberland Phoenix.
Wow. I mean, that S&D had it all, Colin. Beautiful textbook plays, over-aggressive line counters, and Draken with 3 pieces. You know, that's my 3-course meal. That's my magnum opus. I want it on my tombstone. This S&D match. That's what I want. I mean, wow. Draken couldn't do more for his team in terms of overall output and clutch factor, but Texas' strategies in the mid-round and the break-off were just a little bit better. Both teams did well in the man advantages, and you look overall at how the rounds were converted. 9 of them were basically trades, 2 were diffusers and post-plants, but I feel like when it comes to a lot of these rounds, we didn't really see bomb down a lot. We'd always see it like 3/4 of the way, and then either Texas or Cumberland would send a player in, and then that's how the rounds felt like they were being finished off.
Oh, look at this. I mean, quite literally, doesn't get better than this. I mean, first blood conversion for every team, and it just seemed like if maybe Draken wins that fight versus Ferg in that round 11, then it could be Cumberland Phoenix tying this series up 1-1. But instead, Ferg goes big again at the right moment. On the Hacienda, he dropped 10 in a row to close that P4. And the protocol, that first blood, may have changed the course of your entire lower bracket run. Now 2-0 up over the Cumberland Phoenix, looking to upset the number 10 seed as the 11th seed. We're heading to a control on Vault up next. But before that, don't forget, folks, to go check things out with Scuff as our new partner here in College COD for the 2025 season. Their exclusive controller partner for College COD. Head to scuff.co/collegecod to get your hands on these bad boys. And we'll be seeing you on Vault very, very soon. Welcome back, everybody, to the CCL playoffs. We got Cumberland Phoenix down 0-2 to to the Texas State Bobcats. Connie, man, I'm just going to say it right at the gates. This guy, Ferg, just seems like their boogeyman. He has got their number in map 1. That 10 spree, disgusting. Map 2, that first blood onto Draken. Gives up that A site, gives up the round entirely. So, I mean, like, you're going into this vault control battered and bruised and a little dissatisfied with the way that things are going right now if you're Cumberland.
Absolutely, and when you look at the scores, it reflects it so clearly. 230 in map 1, a 20-point loss, and then Texas State were 5-3 up. Cumberland clawed back 2 rounds thanks to Draken's heroics. They lost it in the final round. Ironically, off the same set piece that Draken did the round before to get them there. So I feel like the end game situations for Cumberland Phoenix are just not working. But at the same time, they're gambling a lot with 50-50s here. There's only so much you can do before things turn right. Whereas Texas are really adopting a strategic approach to these maps and listening to the calls from Ferg, from Doa. They really are taking that, and it reflects as to why it is a 2-0, just a more well-rounded strategy. But we're going to go to a vault control where strategies just seem to be a bit pointless sometimes. Send it to A, send it to B, and just have the guns up at all times.
I say it every single time I look at this map. Vault's just one of those controls, which, like, at one point you could be like being spawn trapped on the defensive side, and the next point you're the one doing the spawn trapping, like even on
absolutely
on either end of the field. I feel like it's not safe for both the attackers and the defenders. Like, if you're sitting there on defense, you go down 4, you have to be very cautious with your next moves, especially if you're spawning out over towards that P4 side. So it's just really could have come down to Cumberland. I mean, they've been doing so well in terms of like staying in this series, leading at times in this series, and then just jumping the gun at moments when they really need to be patient. And on this vault control, especially on the defensive side, you certainly can jump the gun. So I just got to look at Cumberland Phoenix just to temper themselves in this map and just find a rhythm, find some consistency, and put this one away comfortably. Because if the Bobcats walk away with another clutch in like a round 5 here on the control, send them to LAN at this point.
There's no better feeling, but this is where things get more interesting for Cumberland Phoenix, and the core focus for this one is for them to find their rhythm early on, and already booking it towards A, same as Texas State. Got the guns up straight away, no nades thrown in, they want to get aggressive.
In for the defense here, Phoenix. All the space in the world. However, Splodey's going to get it behind. He's caught 2 for 2. Trade is astonished. Again, 3 down. Doa's in. Now it's Phoenix's turn to see if they can retake this.
So, opening break off, won by Texas. Only lost 2 lives in the process, and we expect Cumberland with 1 more hit to try and get them off this time. They convert A at this level, gives them 5 waves to get B. Arguably the harder point to contest. Draken, though, opens it up. Ferg is cleaning it up. Never mind. Texas, they live. 26-22. Splodey has not been infoed yet as well. So he can be a lurker. He can create the hole to put Texas State onto that B point.
Again, waiting for the right call to get out. Will he be seen here? Nades out. Could be in the position to allow for safe passage over towards B. Lewis just has to stay alive, which he does perfectly. Pops out 3 down. Astonished. Being hunted.
Holding his life for a brief moment. Cumberland get 3 down. They can now set themselves up for a trap of their own. A few more waves to fight through in a very staggered Texas State. The spawn timings are all off, and Cumberland have read the situation well. It's just now about boxing them in, fencing them into a quadrant they don't need to be in to get to B. But when it comes to fighting out of control, Splodey and Ferg really doing some impressive work. And Cumberland have no answers. They're now forced back onto Art, where they could hold one last final 4. And it's going to be pretty much a jousting match now to get time on this board for Texas.
51 seconds. Cumberland find their way back after what was a very flat A-zone attack. Cal, nice shots there under the car. So another 2 down. Life advantage for the Phoenix. 37 seconds left for them to hold on to this one. Splodi's going to get a hold of Honor. He's in behind it with Astonish. Now they've touched down. Astonish is going to try to get over towards Arden. Lewis has to play some defense. Stop him. He does just that.
Textbook. Lewis touches time. 25 seconds left to go. Texas are frozen solid, waiting for Astonish to join the flank. And then we have a full-on fight for the front.
He's in. Honor is there as well. Back and forth. Cumberland out on top. Time draining away. Texas State, they need something if they want to steal this one again. Ferg set up over towards the vault. He's going to pop out. 5.3 seconds. The clock is stopped, but you still have a member behind. It's 4 down. Hold on. We're not done. Stack in. 3 players here. First segment lock. Nades, you need them, but the trophies are going to be warding them away. Somebody's got to contest. As it's Lewis around the side, he's shut down. Still Cumberland trying to fight to get it. 3v1 and a buzzer beater hold on defense.
Fantastic. Oh, Cumberland. I mean, that's a way to inject venom. Texas started off so hot on the A point, but on the B, it's about keeping form and allowing Draken to be the man in control and in the power position. The ARs on this map can always be super quick. You see him holding position and dropping down to get the final few kills. That's what Vault's all about. It's not a rudimental map with set ideas. It's just about how fluid was a 4 and can the ARs play quick. But yeah, Texas State just couldn't answer. Guns were looking in all the wrong directions. And Cumberland now, this time around, will be on that beautiful attack inside. 5 tiers capture so far for Texas means they've got a nice firm foot for
You see, funny though, what I'm talking about is that Vault's just one of those maps. You can literally be getting spawn trapped on attack, and then in the flip of a moment, you are the spawn trapper, and not the spawn trappee. And it's
so
like,
true.
I actually thought that Cumberland Phoenix were gonna fumble that at the finish line again. And that could have been the dagger. You lose that, I'm pretty sure this might have been a 3-0 in the vault.
Of course, and look at how they found their form again. I mean, that one round now has suddenly injected about 40 gallons of fuel into the tank, and they're just sprinting headfirst at Texas State, realizing what's on the line, what they need to do. It's a huge amount to climb, but they're really enthusiastic for it.
See, Texas State doing a great job at holding on to it. A lot better than what we got of the Phoenix on their defense. You still have a player, though, in Honor, who's going to stop that time for a moment, push a little bit further into lights. If this off angle can produce anything out of it, it does not. It was there for the trade, but look at the kills coming through from Cumberland, and it's slowly burning the time on this progress bar for A trades again. They're back on, and A zone is cleared.
And then we slow it down for Texas State. And Ferg, again, caught out of his rabbit hole. Cumberland Phoenix and 4 players from the north side of the map. Texas will not have the overload advantage here, but they do have that beautiful peek and duck tactic just to stop the push. And now look at Cumberland Phoenix. They have to find a way back through. This beautiful wrap from Astonish opens up lots of opportunities now to deal with the pressure on the front, get a trap installed. 14-13 life count. This is really punishing now for Cumberland Phoenix.
Look at the spread here from the Bobcats. You got Splody working into the south side. He's going to try to work into and cut off middle of the map. However, Phoenix are getting the timings. They've made their way through, and you even have a player in Cal who is snuck all the way in towards Art. Heads up, though, from Ferg. He's going to watch that like a hawk. Denies the flank from Cumberland and keeps things in control for the Bobcats.
And exactly, right now they're prioritizing control, holding their lives. Also the tier count as well is right in the back of their mind. They'll lead by 2 if things stay the way they are. And 30 seconds left. Cumberland Phoenix now have slowed down the pacing. But that crucial kill onto Draken. There's no push now for Cumberland Phoenix. Going to be staggered, trying to break on. We've got a full setup from Texas State.
Okay. Good help there. Oh, onto the member for the hill. I thought for a second, maybe shoes on the other foot. And you get a late resurgence into it from Cumberland, but 2v8, 15 seconds. I mean, good luck. And putting a dent into this setup, Doa's just going to slide out, and yeah, there's nothing getting through that.
I mean, what a brick wall. The Great Wall of China was Texas State holding down that B site there, Seymour. But really, what matters most, I think the tiers right now at this point. We only saw 3 captures so far in the stacking round for Cumberland, whereas we did see 2 captured on the B in round number 1. So it's a 5-3 score at the moment in terms of tiers captured, and it does feel like with these 2 teams and their set strategies, we could see a round. That's just down to how incredibly similarly matched they are when it comes to set stat strategy, the submachine guns, but also I feel like the big difference here is Draken's ability again to play super quick. I'm waiting for Ferg to find his rhythm so far. He's been caught times in mid-map and playing slow, stalling it. But once he gets it up, I feel like again Texas can get back into that firm region of flow state. And now both teams book it towards A with set lanes to go.
On the timing, Splody! Just put him on a poster!
4 dead.
4 dead down for the Phoenix, and the stack is in at A, so this one is gone.
Oh my god, Colin. That was a 2-second take. Like, that is a magic trick from Texas State. And, oh my god, look at the lives as well. 6 full waves to capture B. Cumberland are like, oh Jesus, we can't go for this again.
In the wise words of Mr. Andy Proper Neckrich, I used the Govy. Spaghetti's on the floor. It is all over the place. So, 29 v 25. Cumberland, last time they were here in this exact moment, just in round 1. They did a good job at bleeding that clock down to the last minute, but in the last minute to 30 seconds, oh, Texas State, they brought it back. So you got to be careful. He was waiting for a chance to strike. He gets it. Takes down Cal, moves over. Lewis does a good job at clearing back through water. And Splody goes down as well. So 3 for the Phoenix to push forward.
Texas State now have a really tall order. Getting A that early on, of course, great 6 waves to get it done. But if they die at any point and that clock keeps ticking down, like you said, Cumberland can hold on to it with, you know, momentum swinging their way. A driver's seat position is all theirs. So what the Texas need to do, it's just about managing the pressure, but also really bunkering up. I mean, Cumberland Phoenix have to hold this flawlessly at a deficit, but at 21-18, the lives are still even, and the pressure from Cumberland can still be applied. Texas need to get to 20-10 to really start putting their foot down. But with this beautiful free from Cumberland Phoenix, with Astonish just about holding onto his head for the final few moments, it's still going to be pretty much the fight for B.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 17 v 14. You still have a chance with 3 down, but it's going to take a lot for the Phoenix to fumble this one out. So, time still draining away. The kill for Ferg is 3 to a second one, and wait. This could be it. Honor. Gonna have to slide at some point. First segment is locked. Here come the nades. The trophies are gonna block them off. Keep you safe and sound. Keep you topped off for that health pool. Can you say the same for the Phoenix? I don't think so. 2 dead again, make it 3. Look for the last player on it. Honor goes down, and the stack is in. Texas State, they are here to stay, and they are going nowhere in this series. No nades to take them away. No Phoenix to shut them down. 2-1, they steal another round.
That was a round where the first capture was a comic book level. You know, it was 4 straight and they stack instantly. When it got to the B, it was neck and neck, a 3 life disparity between the 2 teams, but we've got the escalation we needed from Texas State. 14-7. A full 3 players, 2 up high, 1 lying prone with a trophy out. Yeah, that right there was a firing squad to secure the final point. And now we have to see Cumberland Phoenix replicate that attacking round again against Texas State. Bearing in mind, if they were to capture this one, they'd start round 5 on attack, because Texas State's tiers are just 2+.
Phoenix, they need something. They are throwing this in the bin. So, the other 3 down. Off the spot, you were scratching your head on what to do next, and Ferg just walks into your backline and takes a kill for free. No trade. 7 in a row. This guy is a beast.
I feel like Honor really opening up the can of worms for Texas State in that moment. Really crucial, but the stack is no threat. There's only 3 players in mid, 1 playing on the outside. That, of course, is Draken. And Texas State now are starting to apply a claw. They're going man for man on every Cumberland player inside the point. Trades, though, a beautiful shade of red glistens on the kill feed. And look at this. Cumberland spawning on that northeast side of the map. 2 of Texas send their finest to try and block them in.
Ferg in the corner. Hi, this could be the dagger. He is tracking. Good read from Honor to turn around at that moment. His spidey senses were tingling, in fact. But a minute 34. Let's see if the Phoenix can get it done. Exploded on the route. He is feasting off that one. Route man gets paid, and it's Honor. I love the trickier discipline. He doesn't make himself known, but you still look over towards Art. Ferg has an idea. And look at that communication. I mean, you know a player is missing. Ferg is just reading everything right now.
This is pure flow state right now from Texas. Cumberland Phoenix took a bold call to all push the south side of the map to try and create a little flank, but Splodey's read just breaks it for them. And what's their next strategy they're going to pull out now? 19-16, a minute left on the clock, and they're in 2 pairs of 2. Whereas Texas have got a lovely diagonal line covering every exit onto this point. Astonish and Doa just adding kills to the tally. Splodey an extra one there. 6 differential, 4 dead. And now they're going to start flooding mid to create these exits and make sure Cumberland can't get out of spawn. It's the punishment that really puts a nail in the coffin.
Through again. The timing pays off. You have everybody trapped. Does Ferg get the read onto this one? He has been so apt on not allowing a player to take top bar, but this is your moment now. If you're Cal, he's reached the turret. He's gotten 2. Can you roll out the red carpet for your team now? You got a flank coming out from Splodey. Doa on the other side trying to hold this B zone. 19 seconds and another 3 down. The Phoenix, they're reeling. And they're just ashes. Nothing to rise. Nothing to be seen here. Just another team knocked out of the playoffs.
Oh, it is an absolute demolition job, and Texas State, despite the disparity, that 1 place in the seeding, that felt like a mismatch. A 3-0 and a control in hardpoint to match the heroics. All 3 maps, different stories, different circumstances. Texas State found an answer to all 3. But what more can we say? Splodey, excellent. Ferg, excellent. Doa, excellent. There's simply way too much talent roster to not see them through into losers round 4. But commiserations to Cumberland Phoenix. Valiantly fought through the end. In an old verse, there'd be another side of history.
Well, there you have it. I mean, 3-0 for Texas State Esports. Color me surprised off of that one. The number 11 seed has upset the number 10 seed. At least the number 10th ranked teams, not the seeds, coming out of the top 25. And a statement has been made here in the lower bracket. We bid farewell to the Cumberland Phoenix, but what a season they have had. I mean, ever since they have brought themselves into College COD, they have been a team that has been quite the head turner, but this one is definitely going to sting. So dropping out to the Texas State Esports Bobcats, we look at the series back. It was a close one to the Hacienda and the Protocol. We get to the Vault, and you just couldn't get it going. 3-1, I'm pretty sure it was. Cumberland, they won that first round off the defense that they just managed to sneak away, that they almost actually kind of threw away too. This could have very well been a 3-0 in that Vault, Connie, but looking back at this, I don't think anybody could have predicted a scoreline like that. But hey, on any given day, it's Call of Duty, baby. Anybody can turn up, and today the Bobcats, they seized the day.
Oh, that's just the magic of the playoffs, Seymour, right? What you expect is not what you get. But above, I feel like when you compare the 2 teams, Cumberland Phoenix, I mean, Draken had a stellar performance, but usually you have Louise in this cast that is so good on the submachine gun, controls the map in close quarter combat situations and little pockets that create these beautiful gaps that allow the players to explore and free roam. But it's been a quiet series from start to finish. And, you know, of course, when it's a one-man army against a well-rehearsed, well-revitalized Texas State, you're not going to get a really close series on maps, of course, but the overall product was a lot more polished. So I feel like either way that you look at it, it's just a case of reviewing it today, taking home, and just assessing. You know, that's all you can do for both teams, but it's never really a dull, sad day in the office, right? It always feels like there's silver linings wherever you may look in your process.
Well, and for that, I mean, Texas State, they push further into the lower bracket. They're going to face the loser of St. Clair and Newberry down in that match 41 for the winner's bracket. Something's telling me that it's going to be a Texas State Esports versus Newberry matchup in that lower bracket. But hey, everybody's just going to call me biased for saying that one. But it is a great day, and the day is not finished. Connie, coming up next, everybody, we got OCU versus Fisher College, a battle that everybody has been waiting for ever since the bracket has been revealed. The day has arrived, and I cannot wait to see who wins it.